Undoubtedly, teaching is beyond simply covering contents. It involves emotions, interaction, and relationship with students. That's the reason why I decided to share what was a critical incident to me befallen in one of my first experiences in teaching practice. That day, once having greeted the 5th grade girls, the lesson started as usual. All was going on well, when suddenly I noticed that a girl was silently crying. After a while, the student who was sitting next to her said, "Teacher, my classmate is crying." And turning to the girl, she asked her, "What's wrong? Are you okay?" The sobbing girl replied, "I have a headache." My mentor teacher did not pay much attention and continued the lesson of the day. She was a dynamic woman, even though she was not a young girl. She was about to retire and belonged to what is called the old school. Therefore, her lessons were usually teacher-centered and she tended to use the grammar translation method. She went on. I started to feel uneasy, trying to figure out why the teacher wasn't doing anything to help her. Although I tried to go along with what it seemed to me to be a classroom management strategy, I wasn't able to take my eyes off her. Finally, one of the most painful sessions of my teaching experience had at last finished. My mentor teacher approached the crying girl and told her, "Take it easy, right? The counselor is coming and she will phone your mother to take you home." Later on, being in the teacher's room, she told me why the girl was crying. She has gone through a lot since the last months. She had to experience something that no child should experience ever in life. Her parents are divorced currently, and she lives with his mother and her siblings. Last Christmas, it was her father's turn to spend it with his daughter. What happened next would change this little girl's life forever. Her father committed suicide in front of her the very Christmas Eve. She hasn't been the same since that occurred. I was about to cry. I couldn't believe what she was telling me. I knew that many kids live nightmares in their homes, but I never witnessed such a close and real case. I felt so useless, so powerless and helpless. There, I became aware of the challenges we have to face, how limited we are in our work as teachers, along with how we need much more training to handle children's emotions. According to Rebecca Schwartz, when teachers aren't trained to respond to emotional outbursts in supportive ways, they often fall back on responses that reflect the way they were raised and whether they feel comfortable with their own emotions. The most common non-supportive response is not responding. Therefore, the teacher's reaction made me think how right or wrong was how she acted. She continued, "Georgina, this is something you must know. We are not psychologists. We don't have the tools to overcome problems like this. So you must understand that getting too much involved in these kinds of issues, the only thing one will get is a heavy burden nobody wants to carry home. If you do so, your life will be upside down and may bring you serious troubles in your own family. Here in the school, there are specialists who can help that girl a lot more than we can do. That's why they are here, because we weren't trained to deal with these terrible situations, but they were. Don't worry. Time and experience in the teaching career will give you the wisdom to deal with these sad circumstances you will come across several more times." Those words hurt me, but she was right. I knew deeply and painfully that she was right. The only thing I would have done differently is that I would have called the counselor right away when the girl started to cry. She was suffering, struggling with a trauma. Why did the teacher wait so long to ask for help? As a result of that, the rest of the class got distracted. I got distracted, and what is worst, a little girl was in pain and grief, and nobody was doing anything to comfort her. Naomi Neyerman explains that if a child has experienced a traumatic event such as the death of a family member, he may have periodic crying spells. Children may feel responsible for a loved one's death. They may think that their misbehavior or a bad thought caused the crisis. That's why it's so important that all stakeholders in the school get into the situation as far as their position allows them, being supportive, sensible, and assertive, especially to avoid unnecessary suffering. I would like to end with a good piece of advice Nayerman provides that could help our students. She says, "Children need to be allowed to go to a safe place outside the classroom when overwhelming feelings arise, without explaining why in front of classmates. Teachers may suggest to students such things as offering a tissue or a kind word if they witness their classmate crying.